Call. Long time no see. I haven't been online for a while because I've been away. So I'm excited to be back and excited to be back with you, a call. And today we have a very interesting topic, which is about food and energy levels. And you will get tons of information about people don't tend to connect a lot of things to food, although it's super quintessential to everything in our lives. So I want to ask you, a call, from your point of view, can you make the can you give us an overview of the relation between foods and the foods we consume and energy levels in general?
Yeah. So it's a good question. So the first thing I'll say is that, a large part of my life has been driven towards understanding energy in general. And the reason is because I'm particularly sensitive to fluctuations in energy levels. I'm sensitive to, cycles, astrological cycles and lunar cycles and solar cycles and seasonal cycles and all these different cycles and rhythms. And the thing is that from this particular perspective, as I'm going to present it's really much more of a sort of universal perspective. And so one of the things that, like I said, that's motivated me is that, again, my dealing with my own energy levels. Looks like you've dropped out. So yeah, just dealing with my own energy levels, it's been very, very challenging. And because of those challenges, it's forced me to go down a particular path. So for instance, in my late 20s, before I really kind of dug in deep into the spiritual path, my understanding, was very much kind of what I was learning in college, right? So I was studying to be a dietitian for a couple years. I studied to be a naturopath for a couple years. I finally got my master's in exercise physiology. So the point is that everything that I've really looked at has always been about understanding my own energy. So in order to really understand this, you kind of have to break away from the idea of looking at things as material. So in other words, for instance, I have a sexual energy program. The sexual energy program deals with energetic cultivation. You can find the link down below the video. Amira has a program that's related to conscious relationships. That's another time suck, right? So the whole thing is that part of this explanation of wanting to explain how, in this case, of Amira's program, which is about conscious relationships, a lot of it has to do with efficiency, right? So it has to do with, you don't want to be in a bad relationship or in a relationship where the communication lines are blocked because it's draining, right? So this is very much the same. We talk about sexual energy, for instance, and it tends to get categorized in this little bubble. Like there's this little bubble here where we forget the overall bubble. So when I'm talking about food, I'm talking about the overall bubble of energy. So everything is either there's an input or an output. Food is supposed to be an input into the energy bubble. And by the way, you can find Amira's video linked down below the video as well. So the input into the overall energetic bubble is that food is supposed to bring you energy. Well, the reality is that's not true. Food does bring you energy to some extent. And to that extent that it also requires energy in order to digest, right? So when I was going through school, studying all these things, I tried all these different diets. I tried vegan, I tried vegetarian, I tried keto, I tried everything. And I found personally that ketogenic style diets tend to work best for me. And that was something I stumbled upon. And so I ate ketogenic diet for about 5 years. Got incredibly lean. It worked really well. I didn't feel any better though. I didn't feel any better. Why? Because I was still eating a lot of food. I was still consuming a lot of food. In this case, it was meat, which is very dense and energetically more intensive to get the energy out of. So I kept eating all these things. I kept eating, and I didn't get it. Like I constantly felt drained. And so I was like, but I'm lean and I look good. And like, my body is, and I'm supposed to have all this energy, but I didn't, because I didn't understand a lot of different things at that point. One of which was I didn't understand the overall sort of, like I said, balance sheet of energy in and energy out. And so what I mean by that is, goes back to this idea of efficiency, in that what are the primary organs involved with digestion? And, you could say, oh, well, it's the stomach and this thing and that thing. Well, it's also your gallbladder, it's your liver, it's your pancreas. A huge, huge, huge number of your organs, in fact, if not all the organs and glands in the body, are either directly or indirectly connected to the process of getting energy out of food or eliminating food which has already been used. So in the case of like the liver, so my recommendation to everyone almost universally is intermittent fasting. That is the only thing that I would always recommend universally 100% of the time to every human being, is intermittent fasting. And the reason is because with intermittent fasting, what you're doing is you're giving your organs a break. When I was studying dietetics in college, they kept saying, this is back when this idea of grazing, or you need to eat a certain number of times per day. So you have to eat like 6-7 times a day to keep your metabolism up. Total nonsense. That may work for some percentage of the people. It's the same reason vegetarianism works for some percentage of the people. Ketogenic diets work for some percentage of the people. Universally, the only way to find out is one, trial and error. So you have to do trial and error with your eating habits. Hey, how does this make me feel? How does that make me feel? Whatever. So trial and error. The other thing that's universal, again, is this idea that the organs involved directly in digestion need a break. They need time off. We eat too much. We eat too frequently. 3 times a day, in my opinion, is too frequently. It's too much. That's my opinion. For me, that's true. I prefer to eat once to twice a day. That's it. And through that particular approach, I feel light. I have a lot of energy. I know my organs are operating more efficiently. So I'm able to extract the nutrients from the foods I am eating. So then it comes down to making sure that I'm also making the correct choices. So if I'm only going to eat once or twice a day, the foods I bring in have to be foods that, at least I know in my head, are nutritionally dense. So things that my body is going to need. So again, it doesn't matter so much, this idea that good food, bad food. I think there's very few foods we all can universally agree on that are bad. To me, universally, we can agree on processed food is bad, right? But generally speaking, even then there's arguments around that. Generally speaking, like I said, though, foods nutritionally dense, intermittent fasting, that's what I would recommend. Like if somebody is energy sensitive, they tend to experience a lot of fluctuations in energy level, eating less is better, right? And there's also longevity studies about this, where people who eat less live longer. People who eat less tend to look younger. It's because of oxidative damage. It's like there's less oxidative damage involved if you're eating less food. There's fewer chemical reactions happening in the body and things of that nature. So anyway, yeah, I think that's. So overall, like I said, I think my sort of broad response, really has to do with, like I said, it's about focusing on efficiency, focusing on how things make you feel. And again, letting go of, hey, that person eats like this, that person eats like that. It's not for you, right? It's not for you. Only you can determine what's good for you. You have to do trial and error. You have to go into feeling and sensing experience. Now, if there is one external source that I do recommend to people, outside of intermittent fasting, is the blood type diet. I found that to be kind of accurate. So blood type diet seems to me hold some water. But even then, like, I don't take all the recommendations from that particular diet as well. So yeah, so that's my answer.
Nice. Yes. A lot of goodies, tidbits. And we have to maybe kind of ponder upon each one of them separately, maybe make separate videos and just go deeper and delve deeper on that one.
Yeah.
So my 5 pennies on the subject is through a personal experience that I've been through. Well, I've been always thinking that I'm eating healthy. Well, I'm not a junk food eater anyway. I don't binge eat, and I've never had these habits. I basically grew up eating Mediterranean diet, which is one of the best diets on the planet, in my opinion. So I did not grow up eating junk food or processed food, and I was always into sports. However, my whole life changed when I went to India in 2009. And I did not suffer in particular from anything, but I just wanted to go through a really thorough detox and cleansing. And I was like at a fork in my life at that time. I had so many decisions to make. I was like in a relationship that I didn't know if it was like I should continue or I should like quit. I had a like I was accepted in a scholarship, but I was not sure if I want to go through with it. It was so many decisions in my life, and I've never ever thought that food would have an impact on my clarity back then. And I had a very good friend from India, and I told him, listen, I don't want to go through one of these luxury spas and have a Western experience. I want to really have a local experience to Ayurveda and naturopathy. And then he recommended this hospital that is it's really no frills. I mean, there is a part of it that is made for the people who want to experience some luxury. So there were some bungalows that you can rent for higher price, but most of the treatments were reasonably priced, and uh to apply there it was a process. Like they wouldn't accept anyone who's not suffering from something serious. Like if I say I'm obese and I want to go and lose weight, they wouldn't accept me. But if I say I'm insomniac and I suffer from stress, they might take me because it was incredible the amount of people and the demand on that hospital because it's very popular among Indians who are living in the West, who are living in Canada and Australia. I met all kinds of Indians there. Believe it or not, I was the only foreigner. And they were shocked. How did I have access to that place? And that place changed my life forever.
Mm.
First, I was underweight. They told me I was underweight.
Huh.
Second, the minute they took caffeine and sugar from my diet, because I was not eating tons of sugar, but I was eating sugar. I love pastries. And since I was not really overweight, so I gave myself always the liberty to eat whatever I want. Since I train and I burn, it was not an issue for me. So I always ate whatever I want, within the limit. And but the minute, and I was always starving at the beginning. The first 4 days, they were torture for me. I kept going to my doctor and said, give me more food. I don't want to lose weight, man. Who said I want to lose weight? I'm underweight. And then it's not about that, Akal. The clarity that came from not eating any sugar, no spices whatsoever, no caffeine, sleeping at 9 p.m. tops, waking up at 5 a.m., all these enemas that I've done. Also, something incredibly mind blowing is I I am an athlete, and I've never really paid attention to my menstrual cycle. I would maybe rest one day and train, the other days. And I was doing kickboxing vigorously, and I was doing MMA, and I was doing rowing, and I was doing all kinds of stuff while I am in my menstrual cycle. I might maybe because mine was not that drastic, and I did not think that my life should stop because I have my periods or I'm on my menstrual cycle. And this is a myth. This is nature giving women liberty to take a break. You should honor your body at that time. Because when I started later on studying folk medicine, Ayurveda, traveling to all the corners of the world to sit with the women and talk about what do they do to stay healthy, and studying sexual energy from a Taoist perspective and from tantric perspective. Actually, women lose energy during menstruation, not when they ejaculate or orgasm. You know, life force energy is after giving birth and during menstruation. This is where women lose life force energy. So we really need to rest. So when I walked into this facility, of course, laptops were not allowed, your phone was not allowed, you have to keep your phone. Laptops are not allowed in the facility at all. They will take it, the security will take it from you. They search your bags literally to see if you have any treats or candies or sweets.
Mm.
You know, they were very adamant about what they are doing. They were very strict. And I walked in and I got my period 2 hours later, and they put my whole program on hold. They put me on hot packs and ice packs, and they said you need to rest for at least 3 days and massages. And for me, this was a foreign and alien concept that I should rest because I have my menstrual cycle. My life should go on normal because this is what I've learned. But what I'm saying is, what really blew my mind and made me want to go and study Ayurveda religiously, and want me to go and study folk medicine and see how people stay healthy, is the clarity that I needed not to ask anybody outside myself about any decisions, because I had the clarity to make my own decisions. When you choose your food, when you cut down on carbs, and of course it was a vegetarian diet, and I am like you. I tried every single diet on the planet, and not only intermittent fasting, which is also I follow. I also tried for long years dry fasting, so even without water. And it has, in every single philosophy and every single culture on the planet, fasting is essential for spiritual connection. Because when you are light on your feet, when you are light on your body, when your body is not consumed with digestion, you really have the energy. The energy flows in different channels. So yes, food has an impact beyond what we can think of, and it's not only about energy levels. I would say definitely about clarity. Like after 4 days of eating vegetarian, no carbs, no sugar, no caffeine, oh my God, the amount of clarity I had. So yes, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, a couple of things that came up during your talk is I wanted to elaborate a little bit on so the clarity piece that you brought up, and it's I always kind of think about it that I'm going to use generalizations. This could be accurate or inaccurate, but the point is if I think about this massive amount of energy that is rising up through our root, through the root, we'll call the root chakra. I don't like using the chakra terms anyway. This amount of energy that is coming into our system, as we're breathing, prana, all this kind of stuff. So as our body starts to turn this into useful energy, there's diversions that happen, right? So for you mentioned menstruation for a woman. That's how women essentially discharge their sexual energy. And for men, it's obviously through ejaculation. So that's one out, right? So that's an out. So let's say a guy ejaculates. Okay, so this huge amount of energy that was coming in, now it's this. Okay, that's fine. There's still a lot of energy there. But let's say then he makes shitty food choices and he's eating like 5 times a day and he's snacking constantly. Okay, more energy out. Then he's got this much. And then let's say he worries a lot, right? So he's a worrier like myself. Okay, this amount of energy going out. So he's down to this. And then whatever other things, he's stressed, he's not sleeping well. There's just a trickle of energy that makes it up to the higher glands, right? So this trickle, this tiny little bit of energy that makes it to the higher glands, is one of the reasons why, brain fog exists. One of the reasons why people get so fuzzy. And it's, and again, it's why I, just as you experienced, when I'm fasting, where I eat once a day, well, the mental clarity is amazing. It's amazing. And, and so the point, and so what I realized though is it's funny because I've experimented with foods. Like I'll eat a hamburger, which sounds like a really bad thing to eat, versus a salad. I have the same mental clarity after eating either one of those things. Both of them will make me feel heavy and bogged down. It's pretty much any food I put in my stomach will make me feel heavy and bogged down if I eat too much of it. It can be, it can be like, now if I eat just a little bit of the hamburger or a little bit of the salad, fine. It's a very small amount. It goes in my stomach. I don't feel so bogged down. But really what it comes down to, again, is for me, at least it's the amount of time I'm not eating that's most important. And so I'm going to bring up the liver really quickly, just because I think this is useful information about the liver. So they say the seat of, and this is traditional Chinese medicine perspective, the seat of one's identity is actually the liver. And I remember pondering this because, that's not what you're told in any other system. That's very unique to traditional Chinese medicine. In the yoga system, the seat of identity, at least how we identify, is up here, right? So, and then they would say that, well, your center of gravity is your lower dantian or your hara or your belly, whatever it is. So now when they said liver, I'm like, this actually makes a great deal of sense because of how many different functions the liver plays. Enzyme creates enzymes, all this kind of stuff. But everything that you bring into your body has to be digested through that liver. So when someone's an alcoholic, let's say, and they drink way too much, they damage the liver. The old story, again, this goes back to traditional Chinese medicine, they say you damage your identity. And so a drunk, their sense of identity is distorted. People who use too much drugs, their sense of identity is distorted. It's because their liver is not functioning optimally. It's not able to handle its duties. And so anyway, there's a cascade effect. And that's why I think the liver is so incredibly important, is because it cascades into every other system in the body. So anyway, that's something I just kind of wanted to exemplify, that, when we take these times off from eating, and, we're always going to get these really great benefits, generally speaking. Like I said, fasting is always effective, in my opinion. But the thing is ultimately is to realize what you're actually doing is you're giving the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas, your whole digestive system, everything gets a break. It gets a break. The body has the opportunity to heal itself, which all that is built into it. I think the ego takes on too much pressure, right? Like we get in these conversations, I have to heal. No, you don't. Like, I have to heal. You just have to give your body the opportunity to heal, right? You're not doing, like I tell people all the time, you're not doing anything. You're just simply making different food choices.
Wow. Music to my ears. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the body, it's about letting the body do what it's supposed to do.
Yes.
Simple. Simple.
Absolutely. Yes. And I want to hold so many threads of what you tackled right now. So the first thing is, unfortunately, the Western medicine mostly is built on the flawed premise that we need to intervene to fix the body, and the body at a certain age will inevitably decay. This is a lie. This is a big fat lie. Go to all, like, there is this I think it's called the Blue Zones. It's a National Geographic documentary where this guy visits 5 or 6 places on the planet where people are very well known for their longevity, and mostly the places are in the Med, by the way. One in Greece, I think 1 or 2 in Greece and Greek islands, and I don't know, one in Spain, one in California somewhere, and one in Japan. And even there is this place in Afghanistan, it's called the Hanuza tribes, and they are known for their longevity, and they eat meat, man. This is a big fat lie. anyways, this is one thing that I want to like piggyback on, and that the whole premise of the Western medicine is to hide the symptoms. And the symptoms is the way of your body of telling you that something is wrong. And exactly that. This is the thing. You give your body a break to heal. You have this incredible creation, your incredible intelligent machine, and your cells are absolutely wonderful. You just need to give them space. One of my great teachers, the late Andreas Moritz, and one of his protocols in cancer treatment, he has a fantastic book called Cancer is Not a Disease. And what he does is he puts patients, or he recommends that patients go on fasting for a long periods of time, because when you fast the cancer cells, when you don't give them food, they kind of deintegrate themselves, and they give coffee enemas, so you clean the system from any residue. And one of the treatments that I had in this facility, it's absolutely mind-blowing, for hydrocolon therapy, which is like basically you give your colon an intensive shower. They suck everything, all the residue, and you see it in front of you. So it's these people, I'm gonna stand behind this 100%. And I know it's a loaded statement, but you are responsible for your own health. That's it, nothing else. You have to do your homework. If you are sick, do your homework, because you take time to go to the hospital, you pay money for your insurance, you already put a lot of investment and time and money going to the hospital, or consulting with a doctor or two. You need to do your own work. You need to research for yourself. You need to know what's good for you. Don't just trust somebody else giving you a pill. That's not good enough. If you want to take responsibility for your own health, you need to do your homework. That's, I mean, I wouldn't, I mean, I don't use Western medicine in total, only for few stuff, but I find everything I need to know in folk medicine and Ayurvedic medicine. So yeah, so you need to be responsible for your own health. Don't give the responsibility of your own health to anybody else. You have to do your research, you have to do your part. Don't be convinced if somebody tells you you're sick, or you have a chronic disease, or has no cure. Bullshit, in my opinion. Bullshit.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
body has an amazing, and I've seen tons of cases where remittent healing happened and the body healed itself.
right. Well, I think it's interesting that here in the US we call medicine healthcare. I'm like, oh, what a stupid term, because it doesn't describe it at all. Well, I mean, we have a whole industry that's profits from illness. And I'm like, well, how is it we can really trust the intentions of an industry that profits from us being sick for our health?
Exactly.
And by the way, that's just as you described, we're giving up our power to this industry by saying, oh, the doctor is going to take care of me. Total nonsense. If you break a leg, these people are
Yeah.
fantastic. You need surgery for some reason. Okay, great. But if
Yeah.
you have diabetes, if you've got anything that you've developed because your lifestyle has been shitty, then you simply have to reverse it. You got to do the other thing. You got to do the opposite of what you've been doing because it didn't work. And it's really that simple. It's really that simple. If you're diabetic, you need to eat less. You need to eat less sugar. You need to start managing that.
Yeah.
Really that simple. The
Yeah.
vast majority of like the issues in our healthcare industry, the vast majority of the profit in our healthcare industry in the US is driven by shit that was preventable in the first place, right? They're making money off of creating new diseases. I mean, even psychologically speaking, the DSM, it's the DSM manual, whatever. Like way back in the psychological conditions, which now the big pharma is making huge amounts of money from. Back in the day, this little DSM manual this is like a few decades ago, was like that thick, tiny. It's like this now. So is there really that many more diseases? like these are all like supposedly innate diseases that humans are simply subject to? Or do they make new things up because every time they make something up, they can create a new drug that they can sell you and make billions of dollars? I don't know. I'm not going to make any assumptions, but I will tell you an industry that profits from your illness has no interest in bringing you health, guaranteed. So,
and even I would say, even if your doctor, even if your nurse has the best intentions for you, they don't have resources to take from, because the resource itself is flawed. The resource is flawed. The resource is basically mostly about the symptoms. I worked in the, like, I was working as an interpreter in the Canadian medical health for years, and I've seen that they have no interest of asking you about the cause of your illness. They just prescribe a pill for you to take, you know. So when I go to a homeopath, for instance, he asks me minimum of 75 questions.
Mhm.
A homeopath asks me 75 questions minimum to get to the root cause of why do I have this, because he understands that the body is like a car. When you have a problem in the car, it affects everything else in the car. He needs to get to the root cause of it. When you have a leakage in your bathroom, you don't put a bucket under the leakage. You go and you call a plumber, and they take out everything, and they need to understand where the blockage is from. Why don't people accept that this is the same case with the human body? You need to understand psychologically what's going on, emotionally what's going on, spiritually where is the conflict that created the physical problem to appear. And the thing is, the answer is not to kill the messenger, to hide the symptom. The symptom is your friend. The symptom tells you what's going on, what's wrong. So people need to understand that without their health is their wealth. And people take for granted that this is aging disease. Whoa, what a big fat lie, man. There is nothing called that. Nothing. Because if you look at the longevity and the age range in these communities, primitive communities and primal communities, and these people who are living in nature, it's 100 and something.
Mhm.
You know, aging gracefully is your birthright if you take care of yourself.
Yep.
There is nothing better, there is no better investment than to really know how to protect yourself. And
Yeah.
you're this amazing machine that you've been given without even paying one penny for it.
Right. Right.
So no,
Yeah,
no.
I think it's kind of interesting is that it is that huge amount of, I mean, I'm guilty of this as well, which is we spend a huge amount of time, huge amount of effort, huge amount of time, uh, research, and granted, I get addicted to research, whatever. But the point is that all this time is spent researching things and trying to figure this out and that out and everything else. Okay, I spent 25 years of my life studying on a collegiate level, independently, et cetera. And I've been focused on almost nothing but health and wellness topics, including spiritual, blah, blah, blah. The conclusions are so simple. They're so simple. And people get caught up like, oh, I got to take this mushroom or that mushroom or this thing or that thing. That's all nuance. That's always connected to marketing in some way, shape, or form. Again, I won't, everyone has something to sell you. So from the perspective that I have nothing to sell you, I will tell you the best things in life are free. Sunlight, fresh air, clean water, right?
Yes.
Big three. Move, get exercise.
Yes.
Oh my God. Nothing magical here. Like all this shit's free. Okay. Making
Breathe.
choices.
Learn how to breathe.
In fact,
Learn how to breathe.
exactly. And you will save money by eating less. Eat less. That's another really basic thing. So it really is the most fundamental things. If you want to have ideal health and wellness, these are the things you do, right? And then you can get nuanced about it, right? Like, oh, well, if I'm a guy, then I got to learn how to handle my sexual energy better. If you're a woman, then you learn how to rest during menstruation. Again, these kinds of things are nuances. But if you figure out sunlight, fresh air, exercise, again, making right choices when you're eating, you're good to go. I mean, frankly,
Yeah.
that's it. Like
Yeah.
you don't need all the supplements and all this thing and that thing. All
Nope.
that stuff is for
Mm-mm.
nuance. So
No.
yeah,
Take care of your mental health. Keep this clean also. Keep this clean. Learn how to filter through your thoughts.
yep,
And yeah, I mean I could go on and on and on about this because I've seen so much, man. But I think we'll keep it sweet and short this time. It
great,
was a good teaser, and we
absolutely.
can just yeah, we can just do more about this. So please, guys, if you're interested, uh leave us comments below these videos so we can make more of them. If you have questions, ask me or ask a call, and we would be happy to answer questions that you have about wellness and health and longevity and sexual energy. So knock yourself out. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you
Okay.
everyone for watching. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. And thank you, Akal.
Thank you, Amir.
Okay. Okay. Bye bye.